Right, so this is a quick video on how to wire up the machine learning model for the glass half full, glass half empty item we were looking at the other day. So you log into the system that you have the URL for, and you add a project. So I'm just going to call this glass AF, okay. What type of machine learning model is it? What's it going to learn from? It's going to learn from numbers in this case. Okay, so you select numbers there, and the type of number we're going to be using is a percentage. Okay, so type of value is a number, and just give it a name. I'm calling it percent. Whatever you call it, it's fine. Just remember that name because you need to use it elsewhere. Okay, so that's create. So now I have a basic bare bones project. So what I want to do with that is set it up to train on my inputs. Okay, so I need labels for that. Um, so what do I mean by labels? So if you have photos in Google Photos, for example, the photos might be labeled so that all the pictures of your dog or your cat come up if you select the word cat, and you'll notice that all your pictures for cat come up. This is similar in concept. So I want to label things to link items together. So I want to have one label called half full. I want another label called half empty. Okay. I'm not going to, I can add values in here. I'll just add one. So for example, 54 it would be a percentage in half full because that value is over 50%. Okay, I could add lots of values there if I wanted to, but I want to use a program to add them instead because it's faster, right? So I'll go back here and I want to make a Scratch project using this basic machine learning model that I've started. So select Scratch here. And then this shows this other screen, and there's a number of options, but what you want to do is go straight to Scratch from there. So go into Scratch, and you'll notice that there's a new module. So these are all the standard modules you'll remember from Scratch. There's a new module for the machine learning, and you'll see this half empty and half full uh, label categories are there. Okay, so we'll use those in a second. So I now need to get a template project called Describe the Glass. So select project template, Describe the Glass. You get a basic project here. So what I'll just briefly show you what this does. So it shows a beaker filling up with water, and the beaker stops, the water level stops at different points, and you have to vote as to whether the glass is half empty or half full. That's really all this program does, right? So there's two buttons there where you do that. So we're going to get that a bit smarter than it is at the moment. That's our goal. So I'm going to, that's what it does, right? So I'm just clicking the buttons here, half full, etc. But we'll see more of that in a minute. So that's what it's going to do. So let me show you. So there's two sprites here for the two buttons. You'll notice when I click one of the sprites, the appropriate button lights up. So what I want to do is modify the software only slightly to inject the inputs that I put into the machine learning model. So I've got these new functions here available under glass half to put things in. So how do I do that? So I want to add training data to a given label category. So for half empty, I want to add training data to it, and I need to find a variable for that. There's already available in this template called liquid percent. So that's a value that's tracking how high up as a percentage the water is. So I want to do that here. So when the sprite is clicked, when the half empty sprite is clicked, I want to add training data using that variable to the label category called half empty. That's what that line does. Okay. I want the same thing now, but in the other one, in the half full one. So add training data, use liquid percent, and I want that to be half full. And I want to do that again in the same place when the half full sprite is clicked. Okay, so that, let me just put a name on this project, Glassy. So that will allow me inject data in you by running the program. So let me show you how that works. Okay. So in we go here. This is a little bit slow. Oops, that was a mistake. I should have went for half full. So that's half full, half empty. So now every time I add these, I vote on these, a value is being added to my machine learning model. Okay, so in other words, it's learning what I'm perceiving to be the level of the water. Half full, half full. We'll say half empty there. Half full. You need about 10 or 15 of these in here for it to start being a bit accurate. So let me keep going here for a minute. I'll shut up and just add them in. Oh, wrong one. Half empty. Half empty. Right, that's probably enough. So I come back here now and go back to project and look at my training data. You'll see I've got a bunch of values in here for both. Now I made a mistake here with one of them, so I'm going to take that out. I added a 62% to half empty, which would be wrong. Okay, so that's enough to get started. So there's only one other thing I want to do. So I want to predict how things are going. That's the other thing I need to do. So you'll see there's some other commands in here to help me do that. So where do I do that? Well, let's go back to half empty. So when I receive a question, that's where I want to set the prediction value to be. Okay, so there's a recognize number as a percentage in here. Bring in this variable and set the prediction to use the machine learning models to recognize it and then make a prediction. Okay, so the prediction is either going to be half full or half empty. That's what that's going to do for you. And the other thing you want to do here then is on an ongoing basis, you want to continue to learn. So it's not just a one-shot learning. You're going to continue to learn over time. So as the user continues to add more feedback by clicking one of these two buttons, you're going to retrain the model every time you get more data. So it's going to be right up to date. Now you can also do, counterintuitive things here by actually, instead of going the right way here, you could vote for half empty oftentimes when the glass is actually full. If you wanted to. What you'll find over time if you do that, and it's worth trying it, is the machine will eventually follow you. So it's learning you. It's not, there's no distrust there. It's trusting that whatever you're giving it is good. That's not always the case, but that's the way this is set up. So we'll talk about that maybe another day, but that's the way it's set up at the moment. So now it's going to train on an ongoing basis. So let's run it again now and see whether or not it's doing the prediction. So I'll maximize it and run. Okay, so it's doing its usual wind up activity here. Okay, and back down she comes now. Right, so that's half empty. You can see here it's actually said it's half full, so that's the prediction that it's making. Now, it is a bit below 50%, so I'm going to say half empty. That's half full, so I'm fine with that prediction. Next prediction is half empty. I agree with that. Next prediction is half full. Next prediction is half full. Kind of don't fully agree with that. Maybe that's slightly below. Half empty, yeah. Okay, so you see the predictions are reasonably accurate. This is definitely half full. If you entered any dodgy values along the way there, like I made a mistake when I clicked it at one stage, then the model is reacting to that. but you can remove them and tidy things up over time by giving it more data. So the more you use this, the more accurate it's going to get. That's the way it works. No different to these self-driving cars that people are talking about. The more driving that people are doing using cars that are learning from the people, the more driving, the more miles that are driven, the better they're going to get at actually doing the autonomous driving. Okay, that's half empty. That's half empty. That's half empty. Okay, if there's any doubt in its mind, it'll ask you very similar ones over time. So there now, that is half empty, yeah. So it's getting even more accurate by bringing, the way it's not changing the water level that much. Okay, so you get the idea. So now anyway, it's learning from us and it's predicting what we think what it thinks is the right answer, and generally speaking, it's now pretty accurate. Okay, if you wanted to, what you could do is send it off in the wrong direction now by saying the wrong thing on several occasions. You might have to do that 10 or 20 times. And at that stage, what you'll notice is the prediction is also going in the same direction. In other words, it's no longer accurate. So it does trust the data that it's getting. Right, I'll leave it there. That's what I wanted to show you. Talk later.